On that note, is it true that there are overt examples of politicians, for example, using the handshakes during photo ops, for example?
I'm sure that they have done it before. I mean, that's another thing. Like, you're not really supposed to do that.
Mm.
Um, you're only supposed to do that within a lodge. Um, I've had people when they've met me be like, "Oh, you're a Mason," and they'll try to give me like certain handshakes, and I'm like, "You're not supposed to do that." You know what I mean? Like, you're not really proving anything to me. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's kind of an ego thing. You know?
There's a video of Anthony Fauci coming on stage. He's about to do a little presentation for the NIH, and he walks up real quick, faces the audience, does the hidden hand, looks around, waves, and goes to the podium.
Well, that's not a Masonic symbol.
So tell me about it.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what the hidden hand is?
When I looked
Well, that's what I mean too. It's like a lot. There are definitely, like we talked about last year.
I did see it in Manly Paul's book, though. I did see it in that. Yeah.
Maybe it's something that's not used anymore. I don't know. See, that's the thing too, though. It's like we talked about last year. A lot of these groups have been infiltrated, and then groups have been formed from groups. You know what I mean? So it's like, and a lot of the Western mystery schools are all based off of Masonry. Basically, all of the Western mystery schools are pretty much based off of Masonry, and then when you get into the more occult ones, they're all based off of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. So everything kind of starts from there, but there's been countless groups that have formed, and then there's been things that have been published that these groups will stop using because they're no longer secret. So it could have been that was an older sign from Freemasonry that's not used today. I don't know.
And let's say that it is, because I remember seeing that video too, and immediately I'm thinking probably just reaching in his jacket, to grab something. But then I watched it and I was like, damn.
Seems pretty deliberate.
Well,
and that's what I mean. It's like that could be a group that we don't know about that adopted that symbolism and is using it,
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like there's so many groups out there. It's like you're not gonna know. And especially like a lot of these quote unquote nefarious groups, they're gonna stay hidden, especially if they're doing questionable things. So it's like, we won't really know what's going on because, they're going to stay secretive.
And another thing I was thinking, I was glad you wore your tie when you came in today. One, it's sweet tie. Did you get that from anywhere specific?
Amazon, believe it or not.
Okay, cool. With Jordan Maxwell, this historian, he talks so much about Egypt and how so many of the things that we have today come from Egypt.
There's tons. Yeah, tons.
And I feel like an idiot when I'm watching it but it also is like invigorating. It's so invigorating for me to watch it because he's like, where does red, white, and blue come from? And I'm like, I've never even asked that question. Why do we have red, white, and blue? Why is that such a commonality in national color for America, but also globally too? And he goes into the Red House and the White House in Egypt, and they were the two kingdoms early on that were posed against each other. And eventually they said, okay, we need to join powers, and they combined the red cap with the white cap. And then the blue cap was actually a wartime cap. And of course, he goes into much greater detail about it. And then apparently, and they showed an original version of this as well, the American flag is just red and white with the stars, and the blue behind the stars is a wartime symbol. Now, I know it sounds crazy because none of us have ever seen or I think in general, none of us have ever seen a flag without the black background, the blue background. But they did show like an original flag without it. And I was like, wow, that's interesting too. And then, of course, you know, pyramid, obelisk, certain ritual, all this kind of stuff. Even when, when you go down to the Federal Reserve building, sorry, what's the building on Allen Parkway? The financial, is it the Federal Reserve building?
Yeah.
It's like that weird red colored brick with bright dark blue all over it. And there's a big old eagle on the front on a cylinder standing on a cut off pyramid top. Or it's a pyramid with the top cut off like the dollar, but he's standing on it. And it's like, shh. And Jordan said that there's a word for that name of pyramid too that does
It's called a truncated pyramid.
Is it called truncated? Okay. Maybe I misheard the word. I almost thought he said like Chiabas or Chiabas, and I pains me.
Chiapas?
Maybe?
That might be.
Chiapas. Yeah. Okay. That sounds right, what he said. I was just thinking, wow, there's so
or
much.
Cheops. Yeah, there's a word like that. I'm not real sure though.
And then the etymology that we get from all of it, and all these facts, all these things are running through my mind. I feel like I can't even pick one out.
Yeah, I love Egyptian mythology. It's a huge part of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. It's even part of Scottish Rite Masonry once you get into that. There's so many cool stories and there's so many things. So another group that I belong to is the Kemetic Orthodoxy. This is something that I got into about halfway through my journey through the Outer Order of the Golden Dawn. And Kemet is the original name of Egypt, so Kemetic Orthodoxy. But it's really cool. It's more of a personal thing. It's not a Western mystery school per se. It's more of a religious thing. But it's a great supplement for anyone who's involved in the majority of the Western mystery schools. I mean, Egypt mythology is rampant throughout a lot of them. So I think it's a great supplement. Basically, they'll do it's a woman named Tamara Sawida that runs it here in the U.S. I think it's only in the U.S. And basically what they do is it's free. They offer a class. I think it's a 10-week course that you go through, and it basically teaches you a bunch of ancient Egyptian history about how they worshipped their deities, essentially. And it's pretty cool. They teach you one ritual that's very Eastern. They teach you how to create a shrine for your deities that are directly related to you and how to kind of work with them. But it's very cool because they do this ritual called the rite of parental divination. And they believe that for your soul to be incarnated here on earth, that either one or two, it's a singular one or a pair of Egyptian deities created a pact that they would stay with you with this specific soul through every incarnation.
Whoa.
And then they also believe that there are these other deities called beloveds who can come in and out when you need them.
Wow.
But you have one or two that is with you for the whole entire time that your soul is here.